The first stage of learning is it's called unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence is, like, in simple words, you don't know that you don't know. Yeah, I'll repeat that. It's a tricky statement, okay? You don't know that you don't know. That's where the first stage of learning begins. And for most people, they are in the first stage. That is, they don't know that they don't know. It's a complete ignorance. It doesn't serve anybody, okay? But then what happens, a realization happens in your life. A day you wake up and you think, what, this is not working for me, or there is something I need to discover. That little aha moment or little breakthrough moment, or maybe problems, comes up in your life and you want to find a solution for it. So I was telling her, that problem is equal to happiness. If you don't have a problem, then you won't be having this, urge to solve that problem. And when you solve a problem, doesn't matter how big it is, you get this sense of achievement, you get this sense of purpose, you get this sense of fulfillment, and that's what makes you a human being. If you wake up and there is no problem ever in your life for the next 50 years, you would lose the excitement, the essence, the fun, the whole idea of living in an exciting way. So problems are good. They are being thrown at you or given to you as a blessing to learn and get better, or to find yourself. So there's a day comes, when you are hit with a problem, or you have a realization and you think, what, if I carry on doing this job, let's say, as an example, I had this feeling maybe many years back, that if I do this job, let's say, whatever, I make 2,000 pounds every month, I have to go to work every single day, or let's say at least, 5 days a week. And if I keep doing this, I won't be able to scale up any further. And maybe there will be a day in my life after many years when I'll be burnt out and I will say, what, this is not working out, So then you want to find the answers, how to leverage your time, how to make more income, how to do something which you really enjoy doing. So then that's where the second, stage of learning comes in. It's called conscious incompetence. And that's the problem, with all these big, heavy statements or words, it puts people like me into sleep mode, like if you throw some heavy words at me as a student who I am, I will be blank, I'll be like, excuse me, what did you say? Oh, conscious incompetence. And by the way, you don't have to understand it this way, but if you want to understand this way, it's fine with me, So understand the second stage of learning is that, you know that you don't know it. Let's say, public speaking. There are a lot of people who have fear of public speaking. It is considered as one of the biggest fear people have, because the comparison they do, with reading a eulogy, if somebody dies. So the person thought is that it's better to be dead rather than reading out the eulogy in front of maybe 100 people or whatever. So coming back, if you know that you don't know how to speak in public or do a group communication, then that's the second stage of learning. Then the third stage of learning, is called conscious competence, okay? Which means you know that you know. It is still not a second nature in you. You have to consciously make an effort to do it. But you're getting good at it, or you are pretty, let's say, decent in the way you, you apply that skill, or you dissipate, or let's say, the way you project yourself, or the way you do it. So there is this understanding that I know how to do it. I know that I know it. And then if you keep clocking your hours, which they say is 10,000 hours, and if you invest 10 years average, there's a stage which comes, which is the mastery stage. And that's the final stage of learning, which is called unconscious, or I like to call it subconscious competence. I don't like the word unconscious for many different reasons, but coming back, some trainers call it unconscious, some call it subconscious. I like the word subconscious, that it goes into such a deep level of your brain that it becomes a second nature. It's like, that you do it and you don't know that you do it. Like there are a few things, in my life, how do I say, let's say, drinking water with food. I have not been drinking water with food as a family. My wife, we don't sit with water, when we're eating. And there have been many occasions in our family when somebody has walked in as a guest and we have eaten and they don't want to be rude and they have a habit of drinking water or liquid with food. And maybe at a very later stage of the dinner or lunch, they will say that, or maybe they won't even ask at all, and we will realize after everything has been done that, oh God, shit, we didn't ask you water. We didn't mean to be rude. It's just that that's not the culture in our house. We don't bring liquid, when we're eating. And I hope some of you already know this, that it's not good to sip in food, liquid, with your food. It just takes away your digestive juices, It's good to drink at least minimum, they say, 20 to 30 minutes before and after the meal. Okay, so I'll do a quick recap. The first stage is called unconscious incompetence, where you don't know that you don't know. Then there is a second stage, which is called conscious incompetent, which is that you know that you don't know it yet. The third is conscious competence, which is you know that you know it. And then there's unconscious competence, is that you don't know that you know it. It becomes a second nature, and that's you have to achieve. And that can only be achieved, for people who really know what they want. Let's say if you want to become a great public speaker, because that's what I teach, and that's the best example I can give you. If you want to become a master at it, you can definitely do it. But the question is, do you really want it, or is it just a desire? For most people, there's a gap between what they want and what they really want. The day you can, create a bridge between what you think you want and what you really want, you will be able to achieve those things. So go deep, into your thought process, sit down, and reflect and journal and understand what is that you really want to do. And when you really figure it out, then there's something, called obsession comes up. And even no matter what objections come on your way, even doesn't matter, what is stopping you, you will still figure out a way to move forward. You will progress in spite of all the odds, in spite of all the challenges. That's what passion is. If you go deeper with passion, it can be obsession, in a good way, in a healthy way, that you're obsessed about teaching public speaking, or you're obsessed about helping people break the limitations they have in their mind. You have an obsession, to create furniture, which will bring comfort in their life, or you're obsessed, to clean that beach, which is kind of getting polluted every day by day. So that's an obsession. That's a passion. If you go deeper.